وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. يقول الله تعالى في القرآن الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتون إلا وأنتم مسلمون وقال كذلك يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا فإن الأصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة دلالة وكل دلالة في النار. My respected brothers and sisters, we just wanted to talk just a little bit about the Prophet Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and Pharaoh. And it's not just because, like, in our minds, sometimes we should contemplate why Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, his story is mentioned more than any other story of any other prophet in the Holy Quran. And we should think, why is it that this is a theme that Allah put in his holy book? He didn't put the story of Musa and Pharaoh in the book just so that we could read it in the month of Ramadan, read Surah Taha and Taraweeh, try to get through it. He put it in the book so that we can contemplate. So everything in the Quran is put there so that we can read it and contemplate it. It's a book that that you actually have to be engaged with when you're reading it. So now sometimes, we try to just read it for worship and try to get through, and that's fine. For worship, we'll still get the reward for that. But if we want to actually benefit the highest amount from the book, we should read it for understanding. And we should read what the Mufassirun have said about the ayats in the Quran. So we shouldn't read it like, okay, this is my personal book, I'm just going to read it and however I understand it. We should read it for the general meaning and the specific meanings. So we get general meanings from ayat or Quran. And then there's specific meanings because the ayats were revealed for certain purposes. And so we need to find out, why was this ayat revealed? Sometimes you'll read an ayat and you'll be like, okay. But then if you read the tafsir, you'll be like, okay, I understand now. I understand exactly why this ayat was revealed. And so when it comes to the Holy Quran, like we said before, no prophet has been mentioned more than Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. And Musa has a designation that he was raised in the house of the Pharaoh. And the Pharaoh, like modern day pharaohs, was holding on to his power. So he had heard one of these children of Israel, they're going to be the ones that take away your power from you. So he said, okay, I got a plan for that. I'll just kill all of the boys and leave all the women without any men, like defenseless. Like, we shouldn't think when Pharaoh said, I'll kill all the boys and leave the girls, he did that because he was being merciful to the girls. He was doing that because he said, okay, I could take advantage of these women because all the men are gone. So I could take advantage of these women. But while he was doing that, the one that he actually should have been trying to take out, he raised them in his own house. This is like a ibra, like a dars for the Muslims that live in the United States. If we live in the United States and we see all of the schemes that all of these world powers have against Muslims all over the world, we should think about, wow, they doing all of that, but the ones that's going to change this world is growing up right here, right underneath their nose. But it's only if that's what we choose to do. So it's like everybody has to make a choice in life. Life is about choices. So we say, okay, am I going to be with the Pharaoh or am I going to be against the Pharaoh? And so when we read about Moses and Pharaoh, that wasn't an indictment of all of the Egyptian people. That was what Pharaoh, the story was an indictment of Pharaoh and his chiefs. It wasn't saying everybody in Egypt was also a Pharaoh. But there are certain people who got a certain mind state. And in the United States, we shouldn't think that every American in the United States wants to see the downfall of Islam. Most people probably don't even think about it. Like maybe they think about it, they're watching Fox News, but like just on a day-to-day, they trying to pay bills. That America's a rat race. Like everybody sitting here knows like, okay, when's he gonna finish his khutbah? I gotta get back to work. I was leaving the job today, my boss texted me, said, can you tell me exactly when you go to the mosque? Because it seemed like every week is different. And I was like, I ain't even going to answer. And I ain't even going back to work. Know what I'm saying? Like for real. Know what I'm saying? Like, but this is how people's mentalities are. You know, the pharaohs of the world. You don't have to actually be the king of the country. You could be a pharaoh in your house. You could be a woman or a man pharaoh right in your house, oppressing everybody else in the house. You could be a kid pharaoh. Sometimes I'll be like, man, these kids is running this house. You know what I'm saying? Can we please step forward? So Allah is pointing out the story of Moses in order to let us know that whenever we come up against any nation, the Muslims, they're going to be looked at by a certain segment of that society in a certain way. And so I just wanted to recite one ayat in Quran that speaks exactly to what we were talking about. And this is in Surah Taha. And Surah Taha is a famous surah because it was the surah that caused the conversion of Umar ibn al-Khattab. He said that when he heard it being recited, it felt like thunderbolts coming down from heaven and hitting him in the head. That's how powerful Surah Taha is. And in this ayat, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, قالوا إن هذان لساحران يريدان أن يخرجاكم من أرضكم بسحرهما ويذهبا بطريقتكم المثلى. So the chiefs and Pharaoh, they were talking about Moses and his brother. And they said, they made a claim. They said, indeed, these two are magicians. And their plan is to get you out of your land with their magic and to do away with your most exemplary institutions. So there are certain people, whenever Islam comes to a place, they think, wait a minute, these people, they're trying to get us out of the land. They want to take over with all that Sharia stuff. And they want to do away with our most cherished institutions. And they're not totally off base. They not. And I'm saying, I know it's a camera in here. Might be a couple people work for the FBI or something. But the truth is that when truth comes, it knocks the brains out of falsehood. And that is to say that all of the falsehood that's in this country and in all of these other countries that are targeting Islam and the Muslims, that's what's going to disappear. You know, the oppression and injustice that are the hallmarks of some of these regimes, that's what they got to worry about. They'll be like, the Muslims don't like liberty. They try to turn it on its edge. Like, the Muslims don't like slavery. The Muslims want to come here and say, why are people taking loans out of these banks and paying on an education for the rest of their life? This is injustice. You're going to be paying on a college education that might get you $5 more an hour. Like, if you just didn't go to college and became worked at Chevron or worked for the police, you might be making a lot more money than somebody with a PhD. But that person with a PhD, he's paying all these college loans because somebody decided that you should have to pay $100,000 to go to school. And so when Islam comes, Islam says interest isn't lawful. So all of the loan sharks down at Wall Street, they say, man, we don't like that idea. So we make money off of interest. So they try to vilify Islam and the Muslims. And that's what, when we see Fox News and CNN, and they always saying something bad about Islam, is because they're like, these Muslims is trying to do away with interest. These Muslims is trying to do away with adjustable rate mortgages. They know that and we don't know that as Muslims. As Muslims, we don't even stop and think like, yeah, Islam says this stuff is all haram, all of these credit cards. We don't stop and think about that until it's a yoke on our neck. We can't barely walk because we got all this debt. Then we say, Islam says this ain't even lawful. But the intelligent Muslim should be like, how can we put institutions in place that are an alternative so that you don't have to take out a mortgage with interest to get a house? You don't have to take out a mortgage with interest to go to school or to get a car. Like, I'm paying a 30-year mortgage and my religion says I can't make Hajj if I have debt. Obviously, one of these things got to go. One of these things got to go. So when the magicians of Pharaoh was like, they was wrong when they said they was magicians. But when they said, look, man, these dudes is trying to do away with our most cherished institutions, they was correct. Because the institutions is on shaky ground. Even when we don't do nothing, the institutions is on shaky ground. So as Muslims, it has to be about us to talk against it, to set up alternatives, not just throw rocks. I'm going to throw a rock. This is all bad. It's all haram. You got to set up something else so that people don't have to use it no more. Like, they got bad water in Flint. The Muslims should have had good water in Flint. Say, man, you come get this water. The Muslims is not even on the playing field. Like the last week, the Muslims been talking all this stuff about race, what it means to be black, what was white supremacy. And I'm like, y'all just figuring that stuff out? It's 2016, man. You didn't know that it was white supremacy in America. We've been sidelined. It's like, we got to get in the fight. People should know who the Muslims are and what we stand for. They shouldn't have to ask us, what do you think about Black Lives Matter? They should be like, man, the Muslims don't like the police shooting people. They should know that. They should say, the Muslims don't like the police shooting people. If they got to ask us a question, we not doing our job. Where you at, Moses? Where you at, Jesus? Where you at, Muhammad? You're not doing your job if you're watching life pass by like it's a movie. And then we get on the internet like a keyboard soldier. I ain't gonna get out in the real fight. I'm gonna get him post this, and I'm gonna post that, and I'm gonna post this, and I'm gonna post that. What's that? You a secretary? Like, get out and do something with your life, because you only got one life to live, man and sister. And it's way too much going on in America for us to not be involved. The Muslims can shake this country and shape this country. They talking about the Bay Area is one of the most Muslim populated places in the country. And Oakland per capita got just as many Muslims as Dearborn, Michigan. And y'all sitting here like, for real? This is what the statisticians are saying. And we so invisible, we don't even know it. We don't even know it. We talking about, yeah, you want to see a lot of Muslims, go to Dearborn. If you want to see a lot of Muslims, go to Oakland, man. Go to Oakland. We right here. We should be running this city. Dearborn and all them places got Muslim mayors. We got a mayor that don't care about black people, don't care about poor people, and don't care about white people. And we talking about let's vote for Hillary Clinton. Vote for the local mayor. They should be coming begging for our votes. You got to get in the fight, even if you don't win. They be like, man, you got knocked out. But I was in there fighting, though. Know what I'm saying? I wasn't on the sideline. We got to get in the fight. Aqulu Koli Hada was stuck for the Lali Walakum. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidina al-Anbiya'i wa Mursaleen Nabiyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Yaqulullahu ta'ala fil Qur'an al-Kareem. Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. So we just want to talk just briefly about what's going to be our role as Muslims in America. Are we going to be invisible, or are we going to be on the forefront? A Sabakun. We going to be Sabakun, or we just going to just be like just drifting? You know, like a piece of driftwood. That's like the weakest wood you could get. You can't build nothing with driftwood. Or we gonna be like oak. Like we could build houses and hospitals and orphanages. Or we could just be like a piece of driftwood going with the current. So current used to be Democratic. We was kind of flowing with that. Current now has become Republican. We just flowing with that. It's like we gotta stand up, man. People gotta know. People should know what the Muslims are about. I don't even know what the Muslims is about. I see a Muslim on TV talking, I'm like, uh-oh, what he gonna say? Like the Muslims, we all have the same beliefs. So it shouldn't be that far off base. If somebody asks me a question or they ask another brother or sister a question, we should be like, we stand for justice. We stand against oppression. We want to see these homeless people off the streets. We want to see everybody eating. Our prophet, alayhi salatu wasalam, he said five things you should never deny a human being. So every human being should have clothes to cover their nakedness. This is the Messenger of Allah said this 1,400 years ago. Every human being should have shelter to protect him from the weather. Every human being should have bread to eat and water to drink. It's a fifth one that I'm not remembering. But just imagine if the Muslims wrote the Constitution. Instead of saying everybody's going to have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, they said everybody's going to have bread to eat and water to drink and clothes to wear. This would be a different country. This is the richest country in the history of the world. And you would never know that driving past the freeways when you see all those people living in tents. Y'all know how cold it's been? This is the coldest winter I remember. You think about those people sleeping in a tent when you in your house and you say, man, it's cold in my house. And that's what we got to do as Muslims. And not do it so that the people will say, okay, let's stop talking bad about the Muslims. We doing it because this is our religion. Allahumma ihdina fi man hadayt, wa afina fi man afayt, wa tawallana fi man tawallayt, innaka takti wa la yuqda alayk. Allahumma ansur al-islami wa izzal muslimin wa thabit aqdam mujahideen fi kulli makan ya rabbal alameen. Wa salat wa salam ala sayyidina al-anbiya wa mursaleen nabiyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Qima as-salah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.